splashing it.
We're gonna splash right
It's gonna ruin all the equipment. Please, for the love of God. Okay, this is the Hero Latte podcast, and it's a show where we talk about stuff and shows and games and nerdy stuff and life, and probably not gonna talk about the news and the terrible stuff happening. For our third episode, we're going to talk about the Defenders.
We're gonna defend this episode, Pat.
Okay, I'm gonna throw up. Anyway, so for those of you who don't know what the Defenders is or what it's about the superheroes that were from. No, I probably phrased that wrong. The superheroes that are Marvel superheroes, and they all had shows on the Netflix. The list of shows in the Netflix. It's in the Netflix.
They were, yes. Each of the individual Defenders were all on Netflix at one point with their own shows.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But they go further back than that.
Do they?
They do.
Why do they go? How and when do they go further back?
Well, see, the Marvel's Defenders right now for this show is completely different from the first iteration in the comic books, which came out in 1971 by Roy Thomas in Marvel's Feature #1 in December of that year. The team for these Defenders were Doctor Strange, the Incredible Hulk, Namor, and Silver Surfer.
So the most powerful people in the universe.
Yeah,
in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, they could actually rival the Avengers. Like, could probably actually beat them. But the storyline was created just to resolve the canon storyline of the Doctor Strange comics during the 70s, which they fought a techno wizard named Yondorth. Like, I'm probably saying that wrong.
I'm sorry, what?
It's a techno wizard. So.
And he does what?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I just found that out, and I was like, what the hell? I want to read that. The 70s comics are always the most interesting, though. But similar to the Avengers, the Defenders also had a rotating lineup of heroes, and they kept with the constant members of Hulk, Namor, and Doctor Strange. Silver Surfer came and went a lot, and he was there once, I think, or twice, but Stan Lee saw Silver Surfer as his baby, so he didn't want him to be used as much.
I never understand when there's like a person in a team and then they come in and out whenever they want. Like, wasn't Deadpool technically in the X-Men and Avengers like every now and then?
Yeah, in the comics every once in a while,
right.
But it's like that with every team. Besides, like, see, the Justice League in DC, they're very stable, they're very concrete, but Marvel's completely different. Oh. They always have rotating casts, and like, even at one point, the Defenders had to reform, and you had Beast, Angel, Gargoyle, Valkyrie, Moondragon.
Those guys sound really weak.
Yeah, Moondragon, Hawkeye, so you're right.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
She-Hulk, and Colossus.
Oh, the only powerhouses from my knowledge.
The last two are the ones that are really, really awesome. But honestly, if you want to know more about this, you could also go to marvel.com for this information, and you could read on their wiki page and the fandom to learn more about the actual Defenders. Now, what's interesting enough is that the Defenders for this show is actually more similar to Marvel Knights, not the Defenders of the comics. And the Marvel Knights were actually Black Widow, Dagger, Luke Cage, Daredevil, Moon Knight, Punisher, and Shang-Chi.
Those people don't sound powerful. I'm really trying to focus on these powers, but no one's super powered, really.
But, like, the Marvel Knights concept, similar to the Netflix series, is the neighborhood street heroes. And Marvel Knights, that's what they were. I mean, then this is what these Defenders are. But not Doctor Strange level at all. Not even close to that. And, like, if you guys are interested in reading, though, a comic book that is very closely similar to the show, you can read The Defenders, written by Brian Michael Bendis. And it's the same lineup of heroes. as a Netflix show. It came out of June 14th, 2017 of this year, and it's pretty good. I want to keep reading it. I'm interested in it.
I don't even think I'm going to read the comic.
I think it did better than the show.
Oh, okay. There's a chance I'm going to read it then. But then again, I don't read comics so much, so it depends.
I understand. It's okay.
Okay, should we splash into the show?
Yeah, let's flop right into this one.
We're going to flop splash into it?
Flop splash right into this.
That sounded real weird. Okay, so how I took notes, and I guess how you also took notes.
Yeah.
We went by episode, and for me, I was just writing down every single thing that crossed my mind as we were watching it. So this might be a real weird review if you if you're not what.
And to those that have not seen the show yet, spoilers. Yeah. Right now, sorry to see you go if you want to go and watch the show and not listen to the podcast, but come back after you've seen it and then listen to us.
Yeah, and then just keep listening to it the rest of your life.
Don't stop.
Yeah, don't stop. Okay, episode 1. My first thoughts was Iron Fist, again, it's a little ridiculous about his whole existence. And even the actor, I don't enjoy any of his, like I said, existence. And then I was pretty sure he learned how to heal people in Iron Fist season 1. He didn't heal the guy that got stabbed, who could have given him whatever information. And then I felt like everyone else had a good opening as their like introduction into the series. I liked the moment with Matt Murdock, and he's trying to console the kid. Or console? Is it console or
Console?
Console.
He's trying to counsel.
He's trying to counsel.
He's a PS4.
He's an Xbox 360. He was trying to help the kid go through a really hard time in his life, even though he just had some sort of victory. I didn't know Matt Murdock was like that in the comics. Did you?
Yeah, he's a street level hero. He's also that low level defense attorney. I mean, he does a lot of cases in which defend people, ironically enough, of the crimes like this against capitalism or street level crime. I mean, this is the stuff he always goes through. And since we're on episode 1, the title of episode 1 was The H Word. And I think the H word here is not the hand, but hate. Because I didn't love this episode.
You hated it.
I kind of hated it. They introduced each of the characters pretty well. Why I hated it is it's the Iron Fist character that made me not like the episode.
He's kind of a piece of shit.
For everything that you stated above, it seemed like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Matt Murdock,
they're all solid.
They're all but they're all dealing with and understand what they went through in their previous seasons. Like, all that happened, and each character did have a learning moment.
Right.
Danny Rand hasn't figured out anything. He failed in every way in season 1. Okay.
He also, let's point out my biggest pet peeve with him. This guy trained for like 15, was it 15 years?
It was like 15 years.
15 years at Kunlun, and was like, oh, I've been studying.
In a mystical realm.
In a mystical realm, I've been studying martial arts and glowing my fist. But he got his ass kicked by every single person. Yeah. And it's like, you'd think someone who trains for 15 years is going to be the best goddamn fighter you've ever seen.
I punched my hand through a dragon's heart.
Did he say that?
Yeah. Oh. And it's like, a hobo just beat you up, Mr. Dragon Man. Yeah. Like, but yeah, back to what I was saying. As you brought up, he didn't heal the one guy, and he learned that. And you would think that he would use that to save this guy with important information, because he saved Colleen with a similar, very fatal injury.
Yeah.
So we know that's possible. And the other reason why I didn't really like it, I think it was weak how they brought in the big bad in that episode, which, they have the white room in the hospital, and everything's in white, so it's like mystery and but it's like,
I was thinking maybe they wanted the viewers to be compassionate a little bit towards someone
that they don't know.
Towards someone they don't know.
I mean, I can see that. And you got the feeling that she had power and people feared her, especially in the hospital
scene. She have power?
Well, she did the doctor that was there came up, even for someone with your considerable resources, there's nothing we can do.
Oh.
And when she spoke back to him, he understood the circumstances of where he sits and where she sits. But I think as a viewer going through the first time of watching it, you might not get that right away. Again, I want to feel the power of a big bad. You can introduce a big bad that's going through this traumatic experience of dying, but also having power in it better in a different way.
Yeah.
How to do that, I don't know. I would need time to think that out. But what I did like about the episode was how Matt is dealing with everything.
Yeah.
In the end of Daredevil season 2, spoilers, Elektra dies, and that's his big love, and his past that basically is cut off. And with it, he also gives up the Daredevil persona. And it's interesting seeing him in this season because he's cut himself in half. And it seems like it's more than just cutting himself in half. It seems like he cut his own existence off. And it's interesting, the Daredevil character, because it's very similar to Bruce Wayne and Batman as well. Which one is the real person? Which one is the fake person? Is Bruce Wayne real, or is Batman the real person? Which one's the mask? And I think they deal with that here, because as Matt's in that courtroom, he's very agitated. He's very upset what's going on. He handles the case well, and he gets it through, but there's more of a fire behind it, and I think he imagines himself punching crime as he's dealing with this court case.
Right.
But what he really wants to do is get out there and solve this issue on the streets. But he's unable to do that because he is cut off Daredevil. So he's wearing this mask of Matt Murdock.
Right.
And they deal with that throughout this entire episode because he goes to church and they have this conversation about a damaged heart and indecisions. So, like, getting rid of yourself and having the indecision, do I stay as Matt, or do I finally go and accept who I really am? And this shows the psychological strength and weakness of Matt Murdock.
Right.
Because he doesn't know who he really is. Is he this lawyer that he's always wanted to be? Or is he actually fully Daredevil, the man that he's made?
This is too close to Batman.
Well, a lot of street level characters are. A lot of human characters are, because they're dealing with actual realistic elements. But Matt Murdock / Daredevil is even closer to home for the simple fact that if he were to be found out as Matt Murdock, he would lose everything.
Yeah.
Batman wouldn't. Bruce Wayne is insanely wealthy. Iron Man shows that too. He tells everybody he's Iron Man.
Oh, yeah.
He's still insanely wealthy. Yes, there's some ramifications, but wealth and power can deal with those ramifications. Matt Murdock gets paid in pies and bananas. He does pro bono work. He has no money. So that's why he wears the mask all the time. And the mask is Matt. And the mask to hide that other self is the literal mask of Daredevil.
Right. Yeah, that was a very deep dive into. Like, I don't even.
I know.
I didn't even dive that deep in Daredevil, but I understand what you're saying, because it was such a struggle for him, and he basically had to figure out himself before he really got to the mindset that he wants to get into. But as for me, I wanted to bring something up about. I'm not like a specialist in cinematography or anything, and I mean I graduated in media studies, so I have some idea of cinematography. And one thing I noticed, there was this weird scene with Karen and Matt in the diner, and there was like quick cut after quick cut.
Yeah.
And while they're talking, and it's like I can see when someone decided to cut something really weirdly, because it was so fast and it was very unnecessary. It was like every 2.5 seconds it would cut back to Karen's face, and then and then after 2.5 seconds it would go back to Matt. And I just feel like it was getting a little weird. And then at the start of episode 2, they did the flashing lights with pretty much every fight scene, and I feel like every single fight scene in every superhero show has to have flashing lights.
Yeah. Like, not only that, they do a lot of cuts in their fight scenes, which like, I understand why, because of the mistakes, and you're trying to hide the mistakes and you're trying to also keep with the pace of the actual fight, and it's, it's hard to do with a comic book fight and then a real fight, but it gets to the point where it gets annoying, and I think the Defenders really showed that with their fights. But back to what I was saying about why I didn't like it and why I say episode 1 I kind of hated it. The only strong element was Matt, as you can tell by the lengthy speech I gave about Matt. But the other characters I felt laid flat. Besides Luke Cage destroying that poor table with Claire. Other than that, there's really nothing very powerful.
That was probably the worst death in this whole show.
The table.
It was just the table.
I actually shed a few tears for that table.
It was mahogany.
It was a mahogany table. Damn. But at the end of it, I felt they did a really good transition, though, from episode 1 to 2 with the earthquakes. Because though each of the 4 Defenders are in a different spot, the earthquake hits them all in their respective areas of New York. Yeah, and that's what brings them together.
They're all dealing with their different shit, serious shit at the same time, and then the earthquake strikes. Mm-hmm. Should we go into episode 2, or did you have anything else?
No. Let's go and get to that episode 2, and I can go in with what I was talking about before with the whole Matt Murdock and Daredevil, because the start of episode 2 is Matt up on top of the rooftops, already acting subconsciously to what he needs to do.
I feel like he would have gone crazy, because an earthquake like that, and then for someone with those powers, he would have seen everything. He would have heard everything.
Yeah.
He would have smelled everything and fucking tasted the air, if anything.
Tasted the air.
Yep. If anything was happening. So I feel like he was probably going insane, and he had to do something.
Well, the end of episode 1, it shows Matt with the sirens.
Yeah.
And it going in circles and showing Matt's listening to everything that's going on. And I think that getting to the start of episode 2 where he just acts. He doesn't think, he just acts.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what I was talking about with Matt Murdock and Daredevil. And it shows that Daredevil is the true self, because he just jumps right up on that roof. And then he jumps and he fights those 2 store owners off from killing those 2 kids.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty cool. And it definitely shows that Matt is already willing to throw off this lawyer disguise that both Paige and Foggy want him to keep. And they think that's the true Matt, but it's not. Also, this is where Jessica Jones starts being
awesome.
Really, really funny and really, really awesome. And they do that with the Trish character, dealing with the earthquakes and tying Jessica back into the story that way. Do you have anything on that?
Not on that. I was just looking at my notes, and I don't remember if this was the episode for this, because my notes just says it just talks about Danny Rand.
Yeah.
But the whole time Danny Rand is bitching about everything, and then Colleen is talking him through it, and she's the most level-headed, it seems, and he's just I'm the Immortal Iron Fist. I don't know what to do. I have to do something, but I don't know what to do.
When Colleen Wing should be the Immortal Iron Fist.
Oh my God! If that happened, that would have been a lot better.
And she dealt with more damning things than Danny ever went through. The plane happened. His parents both died tragically. He saw that. But Colleen was brainwashed by a cult. Okay, she had no family.
Yeah.
She breaks away, essentially cutting away her only family she's ever known. Okay, the circle of people that she's ever been with, and fights against them with a drive and a stable core that Danny never seems to build or have.
He's so emotional all the time.
Yeah.
And his whole thing, isn't it his whole thing relaxing and trying to fight, but in a smart, calm way?
All I know is he meditates all the time. He barely fights. And then when he fights, he gets his ass kicked by everything. And Colleen, though she gets beat up, cut up, she still wins these fights.
Yeah.
Danny has to get saved by Colleen.
Remember when Colleen was in the Fight Club in Iron Fist season 1? I feel like Danny would have lost.
I think so too. Like the thing is that comes down to the story of just the Iron Fist character in general. Like, I get that you need to show that the character is mortal and can lose, but when the audience members like us see the fact that he gets beat up all the time and no fight is truly really easy for him,
it's really easy.
That's a problem.
He struggles with everything that he goes through really hard.
Yeah, like, it's a really, really big problem.
God, he's not even the Iron Fist. He's like the soft fist.
No, he's like Mr. Lightbright. When Luke turns to Danny, he's like, light it up. That's it. Just light up the fist. That's it. He's just a light bright. His hand glows. He's a good flashlight as well.
I thought we're not at that part yet. I was going to talk about the fight scene where all 4 of them finally go in the same, like in the office building.
We're get to that eventually,
yeah. What do you have next?
Okay, why I liked episode 2 way more than episode 1 is Jessica Jones. And
I was just looking at my notes. It just says, I think I'm in love with Jessica Jones, because I am.
And you have been holding this over my head that I don't like Jessica Jones as much.
Fucking stupid.
And I'm here to say that I'm wrong and that you were right. Jessica Jones is amazing.
There is still a handful of people that think Jessica Jones is the best Marvel show of all the Netflix series.
I honestly, I'm going to have to go back and rewatch season 1 again because of how the Defenders put Jessica Jones across.
Yeah.
She does great detective work. She has great one-liners. The character is the most organic. You also can see that she learns from her past experiences, and she still deals with her devils.
And she's pretty fearless.
Yeah.
She'll go attack something when she knows she shouldn't.
She says everything that's on the minds of the audience members throughout the entire series.
Yeah.
She's great. Like, the one thing that I have down in my notes is Jessica does detective work. Company keeps changing names and keeps going back in history. There's a 5-minute scene where she's in these record rooms and she's going through and she can tell that the signature is the same on the person.
Yeah, and
she's following it
and following it. Holy shit.
And like, she's collecting information. Without her, the team wouldn't have figured out how deep the hand organization went and how far back it went.
Yeah, I felt like this is the one episode really well written because every storyline was progressing evenly, and like this was the climb to the whole plot. Misty had just shown up and had absolutely no reason to point her gun. Oh right, yeah, okay. The husband that got killed, the contractor
Raymond?
or something.
Yeah.
Raymond, yeah, he was killed, right? And then Jessica ran outside, and is that when she had like C4 in her hand or no?
I know she had blood on her face.
Oh, she had blood. Yeah. No, yeah. Forget the C4 thing. She had blood on her face, and then Misty comes out of nowhere, and she's like, freeze, and she has her gun. And it's like, you had no reason to point your gun at Jessica, and she just came out of nowhere.
Well, there was gunfire, because the guy did kill himself.
Oh, shit, yeah. You're right.
Okay. However, Misty just happened to be there at that exact moment or in that neighborhood. That's kind of weird because nothing in season 1 would put her outside of Jessica's apartment.
She didn't even ask about the blood. She just fucking hands up. That's it.
Like, they were doing really well pushing every character into their place, but Misty just happened to be there. Seemed really weird.
Misty is Lois. Oh my god. I was going to save that for later. Misty and Claire are basically Lois from Batman vs. Superman because they always go around where they shouldn't be, put themselves in danger, and just try to annoy every single character.
The entire police force is Lois. Okay.
Well, this entire police force was Misty.
Yes. But, like, I was so annoyed by the constant police element. We'll get into that when we get to the next episode. But for this episode, they really wanted to bring the characters together for the end of episode 2. And it puts Danny in the remember he was at that the swordsman place and all the dead bodies and the van they heard outside. and this is the transition to finally have Danny meet Luke,
Cage.
and who Luke is following the one kid that has been working for the Hand.
Yeah.
So you're having these two characters align, and then the whole detective work of Jessica is bringing her also closer in, while Matt just does...
I don't remember what he was doing.
Matt is essentially playing the boundaries. He's trying to help people, and then he constantly meets with Foggy, and Foggy and him have that moment at the bar.
Yes.
And Foggy wants to make sure that Matt is not doing any extra night activities as Daredevil.
Right.
So again, it shows what I brought up before, keep the mask on. Be who we think you are, but who you're really not. And that's what that episode was. And that's why when I was discussing with you yesterday, that it seems like the Defenders is more of a show, like a Daredevil season 2.5 itself. And then like all the other characters are just backup characters.
Yeah. You can say that for Iron Fist, that they're both, it seems like it's their next season because it's all the Hand, and the Hand is everywhere. And
yeah, I mean, I think there's a stronger argument for Daredevil for the sense of you see more character growth.
Right.
And there's more storyline for Daredevil. I mean, Danny doesn't seem to learn anything.
I was just about to say, has Danny just not... He hasn't progressed. He's the same person.
Yeah, and you would think after he saw the entire temple of Kunlun destroyed, that he would learn something, and he hasn't. He's still reckless, overly emotional, loses to everybody.
But also, this is the... Or did you have more to add? Because,
no. You go ahead.
Okay, because this is the scene where Luke Cage and Iron Fist finally meet. He took a while to glow his hand, and you would think after punching Luke Cage probably 20 times, he finally...
Yeah, I thought that the writers and the directors of Iron Fist understood the mistake that they had, that they messed around too much with him finally glowing the fist. And then in the Defenders, he just constantly struggles with it. Or hardly uses it.
He forgot how to use it some of the time.
Another thing is, too, I think for the special effects for the hand, when he glows his hand, there needs to be something radiating off of it, maybe like a stronger aura or some sort of mist to give it an element of power, because right now it just looks like a light bright.
Right now it's just like a glow stick.
Honestly, they probably just used Iron Fist to like go into caves and be like, all right, light it up. I can see. But yeah, the episode 2 is where everybody meets, and as you brought up, Misty arrests Jessica. So Jessica and Matt meet, Luke and Danny meet, and then we go into episode 3, where now we've had 2 episodes to put the team together. 3 is to give a background of the Hand and what the plan is for the series.
Before we dive into 3, you have to leave and come right back. It's 2:20. So yeah, we'll put a pause on this.
We're gonna be taking a short break.
Are we really cut back? This out? Yeah. We're not back.
Okay.
We're dead. I thought you were gonna say nope, nothing. Okay.
Okay. Now we're back.
Okay, so now we're at the introduction to the Black Sky, right?
Yeah. So episode 3, titled "Worst Behavior," is introducing the Hand's plan for the series, what the big bad will be doing, and how what the Defenders need to do to stop it. It also gives a flashback. Well, I wouldn't say flashback. It gives what happened to Daredevil and Elektra at the end of season 2 of Daredevil, and how Elektra was brought back to life.
Speaking of how she got brought back to life, I just want to point out really quick. There were like 200 candles, and I'm just thinking, is there a reason for these candles? That's actually all I had to say about it. Okay. I'm sorry. I just had to bring it up.
But yeah, so episode 3 is all about that, and not only does it describe how Elektra was brought back, but it shows you, well, it doesn't show you, it lets you know how the Hand members have been alive for so long.
Yeah.
This immortality. But also that they have to undergo the same process as Elektra to stay alive. In the beginning of episode 3, you see Alexandra at a Turkish restaurant, and she refers to Constantinople, where the owner is like, you mean Istanbul? And with that, you know how old Alexandra is.
She is old as dirt.
She is dirt.
She is dirt.
Her organs are dirt. But,
oh, God.
I mean, I liked that. I liked the way that they played with history to show you in a creative way of how old she's alive without just directly having a photograph and then her and then like a date.
Oh, yeah. Well, was there any signs or clues that she was actually super old besides
Jessica, when she's doing the investigative work, figures out that the signature from this one woman is the same woman. So I liked that too. Again, it's different from a photograph of her and then a date.
Like Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it plays that song.
Yeah. It seems like the fighting got 1,000 times better in this, but like judging so far by just episode 3, it seemed like the fighting got 1,000 times more fluid.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely took several steps back with Iron Fist and
actually
fighting.
They went further back to Daredevil where there was actually good fighting.
Well, yeah, they started off with really good fighting, and then Iron Fist happened, and I have no clue why it was so bad. I think, actually, was it rushed? I think it was rushed.
So I thought I heard someone say that they instructed him how to fight like 15 minutes before filming. That's what I heard.
Wow.
I didn't double check this, but that's a mess. And just watching Iron Fist the first time, it was
that explains everything.
Terrible. Yeah, even fights in Arrow and Flash were so much better than Iron Fist.
God, Arrow's fighting.
I mean, even though it's bad, it's still better.
Along with how old Alexandra is, it shows you how old the Hand is. It also shows you how they've been alive for so long. And then it introduced the connection between Stick and Alexandra, because Stick is captured by them. And that's where Elektra is no longer Elektra, but Black Sky. So you see the interaction between Stick and Black Sky, not Stick and Elektra. And Stick already knows that Elektra's gone.
Wait, is this the part where he cuts off his hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I found to be badass. He was just like, enough of this. Gone.
No, I wrote down, Stick had a sword and cut off his hand, not the chain or the handcuffs.
Couldn't do the chain.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, one of the masters of fighting. He's not going to try.
He had to, was the hand or his life?
Oh my God.
Pat, you could say he defeated the Hand by cutting off his own hand.
That wasn't even a pun. You can't even form that sentence like that.
I can form it whatever I want.
Okay.
All right. Well, besides bad jokes, outside of that, when Stick escapes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to bring up this other thing I noticed. When he was still handcuffed, before he cut off his hand, Alexandra, she slapped him. That was the lamest slap I've seen. It was like Iron Fist level slapping.
I guess Stick was too handsy.
I'm going to throw up. From everything that comes out of your mouth, I'm going to throw up. I'm done with this podcast. So I wrote down here that it was hilarious when Colleen and Claire brought their 2 boyfriends to come together and play nice. It's kind of like parents making their children play and be nice together.
Right? Even the interactions between Luke Cage and Danny were like 2 little kids going like, oh, you like Legos? I like Legos too.
Did we just become best friends?
Did we just become... Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And then they get into a random argument because one likes blue Legos and one likes red Legos.
I think you mean green and yellow.
Oh, green and yellow, yeah, because ho. And then they threw a fit and their moms are like, oh my God. Also in this episode, besides the parenting, Jessica is being followed by Matt. And then I like how Jessica...
that was kind of stupid, actually.
It was, but I liked it because Jessica got the jump on Matt. She escaped.
Do you realize how dumb that is?
I know, because he's blind, but she escaped him and then tailed him, and he couldn't find her heartbeat or anything anymore.
How?
I don't know. How? She controlled it. I was like, oh my God, she's a ninja.
He's the fucking Daredevil. He can hear everything. He can see everything. And in the alleyway when he was like jumping around and escaping or whatever, or just going on his own way. He didn't hear her or see her. He didn't hear the camera take pictures of him. Really?
I don't know.
It's bullshit.
Look, it is bullshit because it is very selective, but in comics themselves are very selective.
Yeah.
And right there, they decided, you know what, Matt, at this scene, because there's a lot he's dealing with, which we discussed earlier in the podcast, accepting himself as Daredevil or always continuing as Matt. Not only that, but his friends, he's reforging the bridge between him and Foggy, which they've been friends, I assume, since before high school, all through college. And then his love interest, Paige, which he wants that again. So, I mean, him trying to follow Jessica to figure out what's going on and all this going through his head, he just couldn't hear anymore.
Yeah, that's
you know,
the most BS explanation I've ever heard.
I also like how he just goes down this alley, folds up his thing, doesn't listen the entire time when it's just him and Jessica down the alley. And then he just parkours up the wall.
Yeah.
And so it's not only the camera, but he couldn't hear the footsteps behind him.
It's really dumb. I don't know. They failed at making this part cool.
I still liked it.
I mean, it was nice, but it was like it could have been done a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, everything could. Like
The whole show?
The whole show. But, like, there was parts that were still good. Like, though I bashed on episode 1, there was still the Daredevil element that I really loved that brought it home for me. And this is just a small little thing in episode 3 that you didn't like, but I liked because it was just fun to watch happen.
I guess.
What also, in this episode, Danny finally learned that he needs to think bigger. That maybe he can use his business in other ways. And him and Colleen...
He didn't do shit.
hold on. Him and Colleen were talking, and Danny turns to Colleen's like, maybe I've been doing this all wrong. Maybe Luke is right. Maybe I need to go and attack the top and the bottom. So he gets his suit on, right? He goes to Midland, which is the hand organization.
Oh, yeah. The big building.
To the board members. And I'm thinking, oh, man, he's already planned a hostile takeover, and he's going to financially bankrupt them. Like, this is cool. He goes to the board, slams down. He's like, I know you're all the hand.
I'm not going to let you get away with this.
I'm not going to let you get away with it. I'm the Iron Fist. It's like, they know you're the Iron Fist, and they don't care.
They're also glad that, they probably were glad, because they were going to take him anyway.
Yeah, and then, yeah, right, and they need him, and he doesn't figure out why the Hand are so obsessed with him, because they're no longer trying to kill him. They're trying to capture him. And he doesn't even think about this. He just goes right up to them, slams his hands down like, I'm here. Kidnap me. It's easy this time. And he doesn't learn anything. He's still overly emotional.
Major shit.
You know what he could have done, too, when they all got up to fight him? Remember at the end of season 1 where he jumps up in the air, pounds the ground with his fist, and shockwaves happen?
So you wanted him to kill all of them?
He wanted to kill them because remember he didn't kill everybody last time.
Well, no one died, right?
No one died the last time. Why not do it again? He could have healed people, shockwaved. He does nothing. He's just like,
he's
gotta light it up. Feel my hand. If this room goes dark, you can still see. While Danny is still trying to show that he can do other things, which he clearly can't. Now Alexandra comes in to capture Danny, and she treats him like a child. Like, oh, I don't know exactly what she said, but she just goes over there and she tells the other members to get up, and then they all fight, and then downstairs you have Jessica and Matt talking.
Oh, there's the part where Jessica's like, I'm gonna punch you so hard that you see.
Yeah. And then this is also the part where she's like, oh, you know, I took pictures of you, and he stops. He doesn't say anything. He takes the camera and smashes it against the wall.
It's probably the smartest thing he's ever done.
That was the best thing ever, because it was just 1, 2, 3, done.
Yeah.
There was no talking. He just got quiet, figured out where the camera was, and smashed it. And then at the same time, with all the fighting going on, Matt hears it upstairs, and they go inside. And that's where he takes Jessica's scarf. So we have 3 members that are finally together. And then...
Well, then Luke comes in.
Luke comes in, too.
Yeah. And then this is the part where when we were talking earlier, how I said that Luke Cage punched someone straight up in the face.
Yeah.
And the guy probably died. Like,
yeah.
Let's be honest. He's a human being. And Luke Cage is, like, made of, steel and whatnot. Even though he's not, but
Yeah, I also like the, in this, where Danny hides behind Luke and they open fire on Luke.
Yeah.
And his head, like, I think it's funny because it always happens with the actor that's playing Luke. When it happens, he moves his neck a little bit, and it's funny. I think he doesn't want to get hit by the things that are going off that they have in his shirt.
Yeah.
But it's funny to watch because it's like, what are you doing?
That part where they were surrounded by people on both sides, I was thinking there's no way that Luke Cage is going to block all the bullets. Like, just in a scenario where they all had guns, right? And then if they all shot at both of them, they would definitely be able to kill Iron Fist because he's just going to stand there and just have his arms out. It's not going to block everything.
You know, what I don't understand is they should do a scene with him where he's running full speed with his arms full out like he's going to clothesline somebody and just tackle people because he's super strong.
Oh, yeah, he's never done that.
No, he's not. And he's done that in the comics. He's done that in animated cartoons. Just do that. Have him run, clothesline, and run through a wall through people. He's one of your strongest guys. Like, if we were playing an MMO, he's the tank.
Pretty much.
Just go. Have the actor... That's the one thing for Luke Cage. Have Luke Cage loosen up a bit with it. I understand. We get it. He can block bullets, with his skin. But doing it in a more creative way rather than him just standing still, because that is getting boring.
That is boring.
And you can always time it, because every fight there's at least one scene where he does the exact same thing.
I need to watch all of those scenes again.
And he needs to move now. It's at the point where he needs to be moving and doing a combo attack.
There's no point for him to stand still while holding off the bullets.
Yeah.
He could be walking toward them and not wasting time.
And so Luke and Danny are upstairs and they're fighting, and Matt hears it, so Matt and Jessica go upstairs. And this is where the first quote-unquote team-up happened. Also, the episode where they do another hallway fight scene. And when I mean another, I mean I think they've done it in both Daredevil seasons. I think they tried to do something similar in Iron Fist, and now they're doing it in the Defenders. And this hallway scene wasn't, the building, offices, wasn't that great. It was nice to see the Defenders come together. It was nice to see the Defenders fighting off evil. Also, Jessica's line to Matt, "You look like an asshole," and Matt responding with, "Well, it's your scarf." I liked that. I liked the banter. I also liked the fact that Matt sees Elektra hears Elektra, but doesn't hear her heartbeat, but he can smell her.
Oh, yeah.
And he's completely thrown off. I mean, she died and she's brought back, but from the entire fight, he's just kind of in a daze. And Danny is the one that saves him. Danny quickly reacts
so this
for
is
once.
Best moment in his existence on Netflix.
He finally acts and saves Matt.
Yeah.
And does it. And after that, they escape the building, and now we're on to episode 4, more confusion at the Chinese restaurant, Royal Dragon.
I was gearing up to watch Luke and Matt fight because we both know Luke would be unstoppable. And then Jessica Jones was putting some sense into Matt. That was like an A+ scene because she figured out shit. And it's great that they utilize her background as a PI, and she gets shit done and figures things out.
Yeah, I definitely liked that. I definitely liked that Jessica though she didn't want to be a part of the team, she's the core of the team. Because she deals with each of their problems and brings them back. Her connection with Luke, how she talks down Matt, how she tries to rationalize things with Danny. Like, the whole later on in the episode when they have to put Danny away, I mean, she's like, they're right, this makes sense. I don't want to do it, but this is smart.
Yeah.
But there was also some great quotes, like where they're trying to shut off the lights, and Matt's like, "We need to shut off the lights." Jessica responds with, "How do you even know they're on? He can hear neon." And Luke's like, "Who hears neon?" It was just like was just amazing. And then Jessica, whoever wrote the lines for Jessica, it was great because her response is, "My blind but maybe not lawyer." Like,
That is a perfect line.
I love it. I just loved how Jessica was because her reactions were that of what I was thinking as an audience member. Like, yeah, how do you even do that? Maybe he's really not fully blind. It was fun. It was great to see. But besides that, in this episode, you see the team slowly becoming a team.
I just want to just add in really quick. Stick is kind of an annoying character.
Like Misty.
Because he's a little bit, but he's more like he's always, every time he's around, he has to be like the sage of wisdom that teaches everyone everything. And it's just like, it got repetitive for me.
Yeah, in the later episode where they have Danny locked up, it turns out that Stick's just making shit up off the cuff.
Right, yeah.
He's not this Yoda figure. He's just a survivor, and he quotes that.
Gao is the Yoda figure, yeah.
Yoda, she is Yoda. Like, she force pushes, she has a little cane, she's wise. But for this episode, so you have the team understanding each point of view, and Matt hesitant on joining the team. And while that's going on, you have the Hand coming together to attack, because they know they're already at the Royal Dragon. But what I liked about this episode the most was Matt was very conflicted between joining the team and thus accepting the Daredevil persona or leaving and just becoming Matt again. And he definitely struggled with that. And the actor pulled it off really great because in the body language, you could tell he was very anxious and nervous and worried and conflicted. And he pulled it all off.
Yeah.
And I like how Jessica went up and talked to him about that and their conversation. And then Matt, when he removed the scarf, he basically was removing the Matt Murdock persona as well because he revealed who he really is to these people and thus accepted himself as Daredevil. So it wasn't the mask that made him Daredevil. That was just protecting Matt. But by removing that, he accepted himself as Daredevil.
And they became the Justice League.
And they did. And then Superman showed up and it was all over.
I mean,
if Superman showed up in this, it'd be done.
The Hand would be dead.
They're like a weaker version of the League of Assassins.
They are the League of Assassins.
They're weaker than the League of Assassins.
Probably.
But, yeah, I mean, I definitely liked this. I also, this part about Stick showing up and trying to be this wise old sage, but was very annoying the entire time. And I definitely agree with Matt. And here comes Stick. He's going to try to say something to sway you, but Matt knows that Stick doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Yeah. And that's why Matt's so furious with him.
And then Jessica left, and then she went to that woman's house of the dead husband.
Raymond's family.
Yeah. And Jessica Jones is at the door. She knocks, and then the wife comes out, and she says, "What time is it?" And I'm just thinking, any normal person, if someone was at the door, would look at the clock before they answered the door and wouldn't have... It was just a dumb, small thing I noticed.
Yeah, I think that what they were trying to do is because season 2, episode 2, or episode 3 and episode 4, right? Yeah, episode 3 and 4, they were like on the same day. So with that, they were getting the point across of time.
I guess it's
but
stupid.
I agree with you. It is stupid because any normal person would look at the clock and be like, "I'm going to sleep,"
or fucking check their phone. Yeah.
Yeah, and like they could have done time in a different way where it was up on a wall and it represented time or something. But that whole meeting was pretty dumb.
Did you want to get to the fighting now, or is there anything else you wanted to add?
The only thing from season 4 that I wanted to add was episode 4. Season 4, episode 30 of episode 4, they named all the fingers of the hand with Stick. So that was the purpose of the Stick character, was to go through and who are the 5 fingers. And they name it as Alexandra as number 1. Gao basically is number 2. Sowande, Bakudo, and
Murakami?
Murakami, yeah, was the 5th one. But when they described Murakami as this very secretive, most evil figure, I think they dropped the ball on it because the character doesn't act like that at all.
Oh, wait, no? What?
No, because Murakami's supposed to be the guy that's pulling the strings in the background, and when he shows up, that's really bad. That's the biggest, the biggest bad.
Okay.
But during the entire series, he really doesn't seem that threatening. Even at the end, how he dies.
How'd he die again?
He fell, and he gets impaled.
Oh.
And it's like, this was the guy that's the most secretive, and when he shows up, crap goes down. And he just seemed... He was worse than Bakudo. And Bakudo's annoying.
Bakudo was lame as fuck.
I know.
Every time. Even his voice was annoying.
I honestly, I don't think it's the actor's fault. I think it's like the way... Well, actually, no, it is the actor's fault. It's the way he decided... It's the way that he decided to read the lines. But it's like, oh my god, how come no one has slapped you? Like, come on, man. But Murakami, I was just disappointed. I think what they should have done is the 4 fingers of the hand died, and Murakami was the last one. And he never showed up in the series.
It would have been more interesting.
And this guy was essentially what made the hand. That would have been cool. But they didn't decide to go that route. But you wanted to bring up the fighting?
When Jessica she drove in and hit Black Sky with her car. I was thinking, she was on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, she got hit by a car and was on the floor. All they had to do was go up to her, punch her in the face.
Or ran her over.
And just leave her there.
Or actually run her over.
Or that, yeah. And then the whole problem of the show would have been much less.
Yeah, because the Black Sky is just a person.
Yeah.
That's just really, really, really good at, like, every known form of fighting.
And then this was where Jessica said her other good quote, "Geez, am I the only one left who doesn't know karate?" Yeah.
Because everyone else is like throwing hands, and she's just like, "What the hell do I do?"
Although she should have noticed that Luke, he doesn't know karate or any sort of martial arts.
Yeah, but he throws people like they're paper.
People. Yeah, that's true. But
well, like she actually has. Well, wait a minute, no, because she holds up the elevator at the very end, and they're like, "Oh my god, she's super strong," and it's like, "Wow, Luke, when will you do something like this?"
Yeah, actually, before the fight, Alexandra, she was standing there talking to them, and all they had to do was knock her ass out, and then that would have also solved the problem.
But supposedly she was really good at fighting, and 5 people couldn't take her out.
Not even Luke Cage.
And this episode sets up where they have to get all their loved ones and put them inside the police station. So that moves on to 5, which is take shelter.
And then, actually, the whole time before this episode, I wasn't sure how strong Elektra was. And then I saw that she can hit as hard as, like, Luke and Jessica. And then it made me realize, oh, she's finally a threat. Not just a normal person, an actual threat.
I'm happy that the hand storyline is done. Because, like we were discussing before, they weren't threatening at all. In Iron Fist, towards the end of season 2 of Daredevil, they just were annoying. They weren't threatening. But during season 1 of Daredevil, when they mentioned the hand, they seemed threatening and a menacing force. But I don't know what the hell happened. The route that they went, it was just terrible. They were like, they're the equivalent of Arrow's League of Assassins. They're not scary. They're annoying.
Yeah, everyone can kick their ass really easily.
Yeah, everyone can beat them up. Even Felicity Smoke.
Even her. And then I thought it was interesting because Suwande...
Yeah.
Right? I wasn't sure of his, like, abilities or his capabilities. And then he was doing damage to Luke for a little bit in those fight scenes. And then I really enjoyed the casual heavy lifting by Jessica Jones. Like, toward the end of the fight, she pushed a dumpster.
Yeah.
Just a little...
Like it was nothing.
Little nudge and then... like it was nothing.
That's the one thing I don't understand. Like, while watching the show, they showed how easy it is for Jessica to do these feats, but they never did that for Luke, or they hardly do it for Luke. Like, he always bends a bar to stop a door, or he gets shot in the chest by bullets.
He carried that stone thing in the first episode.
He picks up a stone.
Yeah.
And that's it. And he could do so much more. Like I said before, have him run through a wall like it's nothing. Have him take
Can he do that?
Yes, he's strong.
Has he?
He's really strong. Have him do some really cool things.
I noticed by this episode, the actress that plays Elektra, her name is Elodie Young. Mm-hmm. I thought she was a great actress. Mm-hmm. She's really good at acting kind of dead inside or confused and hopeless, but also hopeful and kind of evil at the same time.
Does that mean she's a good actress? She could just be a really bad actress that they can't act, so they're dead inside because they can't act.
But the fact that she's in it and pretending to act.
No, I'm agreeing. I was trying to be a smart ass, but clearly
no, I was trying to loop it around.
No, but she definitely was a good actress. How she played Elektra in Daredevil and how she plays this, she did experience death, but at the same time, she doesn't care. She's going to live. Everyone will die. And her really twisted relationship with Matt.
That is pretty weird.
We're finally together. It's like, bitch, the building's collapsing. Like,
not even there yet.
We'll go together in death. And it's like, oh my God.
And then Colleen, Iron Fist didn't heal her either.
Was this in episode 4?
That's what I have written down.
Oh.
That she couldn't.
Yeah, there was so many times where he could have just healed people.
He could have healed everyone.
Iron Fist is the healer that doesn't want to heal and just DPSs the entire time.
Isn't Donald in Kingdom Hearts? Doesn't he do that?
He's the equivalent to Donald Duck. He spends all of his mana, all of his MP on Thunder, and never heals you.
Danny Rand,
he'll
also
heal himself.
known as
Donald motherfucking Duck. Someone please make an image of Danny Rand with a Donald Duck face on it. Or have Donald Duck's body and have the actor of Danny Rand as the face.
I think someone's going to do that.
Please.
You know what? Maybe I'll do it and spread it around.
Somebody make that for me. Please.
God.
I ask you.
When all the characters went to
that's
save their friends.
That's in I thought that was I want to say season so bad. That's in episode 5, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in episode 5.
Yeah, and so they're trying to get all their friends together, and
the guy attacking Jessica Jones, or no, Trish and Jessica, and then Jessica tries to fight him, then she fails, and then they kick him off the balcony, and he wasn't there, he wasn't found. I was really mad at that.
I like the guy with the orange juice. Like, where did he go?
Yeah.
I saw it too.
I noticed that.
Before we get into that, hold on. We got to backtrack because Matt goes and gets Paige, and in the back, you see a news clipping of the Avengers, the event in New York. And I found that to be cool. And Matt, at this point, hasn't accepted the Daredevil persona in front of his friends. Like, he accepted to be Daredevil, but he hasn't accepted to put the suit on. So thus accepting 100% what this is. So when you're seen, that's when Matt puts on the suit and fights. And Daredevil beats one of the fingers of the hand like it's nothing and kicks him off.
He doesn't even...
But if it was Danny, he'd be like, oh, God, Colleen. Colleen.
She'd probably save him too.
Again, Colleen needs to be the Iron Fist.
The actual immortal.
The immortal Iron. The actual immortal Iron Fist. Danny's just the torchbearer. He doesn't know that he's supposed to like give her the power. Colleen, punch your hand through my heart, and you'll get the power.
And then Trish and Malcolm was seeing Karen and Foggy at the police station. Mm-hmm. I really like when side characters meet each other. It's also how I feel in real life when certain characters meet each other.
It honestly, when they were all together in the police station, it felt like I was watching a bunch of Sims get together in a house. They like didn't know what to say. They were just like, that's just how it was. It was funny. And like the other thing, so Matt brought these two people in, right? Foggy and Paige. Luke, Jessica, and Danny all brought their loved ones there. Wouldn't the police be starting to suspect, like, hey, you know what? Maybe this Matt guy isn't just a blind lawyer. We don't know who he could be, but he's not normal.
You know, I never thought about that. They just didn't think, oh, maybe all these people are, you know.
Because they go with the idea that Luke and Jessica, Matt and Jessica have the connection because he's her lawyer, and then he fell into this hand business, and now he can't get out of it. Then Luke and Jessica kidnap him. Yeah. But it's like, but he actively went out and got his loved ones. Like, what the hell's going on?
Misty makes a lot of sense because she's tired of people telling her she shouldn't know things. Because everyone kept telling her, the more you know, the more danger you're in. Yeah. And I was like, that would probably get pretty annoying by everyone else.
Well, not only that, the police could have actually done something.
That too.
Okay, like, Luke has a connection with the police. A pretty stable one. He could have told Misty everything. Then the police could have backed up Luke. And they could have went and fought the hand.
They could have.
And Jessica has all the information on this organization going on. You have evidence right there.
Yeah, she has to do it herself.
So, like, I understand where they were going with a little bit with this police thing. Like, the police can have an active role, that vigilantes sometimes make things worse, which they sort of do with the whole putting C4 in a building and blowing it up at the end of the series. I mean, at the end of the season. And it was, the police could have went in. The police could have done something. Bullets are effective against ninjas. You can't block them all.
I mean,
They would have had Luke there.
they might be really good ninjas.
Clearly they're not. We've seen
Clearly.
them fight. And then for the end of this episode of 5, it's Elektra finding out who Black Sky figuring out that she did have a life, and it was Elektra, and she did love Matt. And that's like the side story that's going on. And then at the end, Alexandra meets Elektra at the graveyard and basically putting to rest their pasts and embracing their futures. This episode had Matt accepting Daredevil fully. This episode also had the hand being afraid of death, because you find out that Black Sky, to make it, took all the resources. So they can't come back to life after this. They need new material, which they need to have Danny's fist open up this door to get through.
It's really stupid.
So you find that out fully in this episode too, why they're so after Danny.
I like how they're basically attacking everyone in the city. So the show is called The Defenders.
Yeah.
And the hand is the attackers.
And then you have the whole torture sequence between Daredevil torturing Sawande, one of the fingers of the hand, which he gets the upper hand. Sawande gets the upper hand and gets Iron Fist, and then Stick just cuts his head off like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Which ruins the whole character of Sawande, because I thought he was going to be more badass than what he was.
You think they'd be more bothered by Stick beheading this guy?
Yeah, they tried to do it, like, oh my god, but then they got over it within the next episode, because...
I'd say within a few seconds they
got
over it.
I think that's what happened between 5 and 6, that it's only a few minutes passed between the beheading of Sawande and them discussing to put Danny away, because in 6, they're like, okay, he's dead, that just happened, but Stick is right. The hand is coming for Danny because Danny is the key. So we have to take that piece off the chessboard and hide him away. Now you have the Defenders really not infighting. You have them rationalizing the situation that they're in, but Danny doesn't get it.
Danny's the problem.
All the time.
Yeah.
Danny starts flipping out because he's like, whoa, this is how the hand gets us to go against one another, and this is how the hand beats everybody. And it's like, no, dude, you're actually the key, what they're looking for. They're not trying to kill you. They need you for something. So you getting captured is bad. They already know where they're at, which is at Midland. They know the plan of what the hand's trying to do. They already, the Defenders already know how to go and get rid of this, solve this problem. Danny doesn't want to accept any of it. Don't get me wrong, Stick screws this all up by attempting to kill Danny, because remember, Stick is not a wise Yoda figure. He's just a survivor. So for him to survive, it's to kill Danny. And that, at the same time, Elektra shows up. And that's all of episode 6, is Danny's overly emotional, not thinking things through. Stick decides that the only way that he can survive, and for everyone to survive, is to kill Danny. Not just beat the hand, but kill Danny so this doesn't happen, which makes no sense. And the Defenders, again, really not really knowing what to do, but at the same time, not executing what they have to do, so they get confused, which seemed to happen in also episode 5. That's why talking about this series sounds confusing, because the characters and the writing in the show gets confused a little bit.
Yeah. My notes, one thing I put, at this point I was thinking Black Sky this and Black Sky that. They keep talking about Black Sky, and it's just some girl with super strength and good fighting and is more or less powerful than the Iron Fist. And then when she shows up with Luke and Danny, and then Stick is about to kill her, Matt and Jessica were running up to help them out. And then Matt, he did some parkour up this thing. You would think he's going to be much further ahead of Jessica, right? A few seconds later, there's a scene where they're running in a hallway and Jessica's right behind him. But yeah, the plot twist with Elektra coming back, I don't think anyone saw that coming. Was it Black Sky or Elektra?
You mean
I don't remember.
Elektra, Black Sky realizing that she is Elektra and not really bothered by it? Is that what you mean?
No, like when she killed... We're at that part, right? Where she killed
Stick?
Alexandra.
Oh, no, that's the next episode.
What episode are we on?
We're on 6 right now.
Yeah.
I thought there was 7.
I wrote it down.
Oh, then it's 6. Oh, matter of fact, since we're talking about mistakes that I've made, the graveyard scene is actually episode 6. I had to look. It was on the other page.
Which graveyard scene?
That's where Elektra and Alexandra discuss serving life, and they accept, the whole...
That was really
the
boring.
past and accept the future. It was boring. Not only that, in this episode, Daredevil kicks the shit out of Iron Fist.
Yeah.
This is the episode where Matt beats the crap out of him, and I loved it. I loved it. Because, again, Danny can't fight worth a crap.
Well, they all kind of fought him.
For 5 minutes, it was Daredevil versus just Iron Fist. It wasn't really 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it was like a
wasn't
few
even
minutes,
5
but it was one-on-one. And then the other two jumped in. And Matt never went to Kunlun. He didn't train in a mystical realm by mystical ninjas and monks.
Oh, my God.
No, Matt. You know who Matt learned from? Stick, the blind janitor. That's who he learned from.
From another blind guy.
So moral of the story is, don't go to a mystical realm to learn fighting and put your hand through a dragon. Just go learn from a blind janitor how to fight, and you're going to be millions of times better.
As cool as it is to find a dragon, if you want to fight, you don't need it.
If you don't need it at all.
I can't believe we're only on episode 7. With episode 7, first thing I wrote down... Oh, I already said that earlier. Misty is like Lois. Yeah, it got worse and worse over time. I forgot Claire's name for a while, so I started calling her Doctor Woman.
She's not a doctor, she's a nurse, but okay, we're wrong on that too.
I mean, at this point, I don't even care.
You know, I love the character of Claire because I get it that she's very knowledgeable, but she has saved people from very, very bad injuries without ever going to a hospital.
And also, is she like technically a surgeon by this point?
At this point, she should just be a surgeon. she's way above a nurse.
And you would think the hand would attack Elektra with guns, but she still hasn't blocked bullets. I think I mentioned that earlier, but I wrote this down in my notes again.
I liked how the fingers of the hand also accept the fact in episode 6 that she just killed Elektra.
Yeah.
I mean, killed Alexandra. Elektra killed Alexandra. They're like, eh. But they talk secretly like, once she gets us to a new beginning, then we'll kill her. It's like, okay, all right.
If anyone cares about this cinematography part, in episode 7 where Karen and Foggy were like talking at the police station, there were these low-angle, crooked shots of Karen and Foggy. I wish I knew who did that, because I kind of want answers. Like, there has to be a reason for that, but it was really stupid.
There were so many decisions made with the camera work that were pretty bad. Like, as we discussed off the podcast of episode 1, where the sirens are going off and it's circling around Matt and you see the lights, and then it finally stops circling and it goes in on Matt's back and you see on the window the lights. It should have ended right there because it already captured the scene.
But they wanted to end it with his face.
They ended with his face and him taking a gasp. There was no or as you said, tasting the air.
Yeah, he was tasting the air.
Like, there was no point. Like, the camera work, the decisions were just bad with this.
I don't know. Well, for my notes, one of the biggest fights of the series, where it was Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Daredevil versus Gao,
Bakudo,
and Murakami.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to be the best fight ever.
I was so disappointed in this fight.
And then in another location, Danny versus Elektra. And then I was thinking, if this isn't the best fight scene in the whole series, I'm going to be disappointed.
So, before you talk about this fight, when they had Danny downstairs in the cave, okay, I kept thinking to myself, the episode prior, when they first kidnapped him, Elektra, or Alexandra, because she was still alive at the time, is going to have Danny fight with them, dodge his punch, and have him punch the door and open it by accident. It happened because Elektra dodges the punch from Danny, grabs his fist, and shoves it through the wall, and that's how the door opens. So they did that. It was the most obvious thing. It got to the point where it was annoying. It's like, come on, just do it. Just open up the door. We all know it's going to happen. It should have, like, had a different way of doing it. Maybe Black Sky could have siphoned off the power from Iron Fist. Not fully, but a little bit of it.
It's just, Danny's the dumbest.
He's so stupid. Oh, my God.
It's easy to hate him.
That amazing, disappointing fight.
Well, at the end, but like when he's punching the stone.
Yeah.
I just want to say really quick. He's trained for years mastering chi, right? Mm-hmm. So you think if he figured out, which he's too stupid to figure out, if he figured out that his fist was being led to the wall, he could have take the glow away.
Yep.
Make it not light up and punch the wall normally. And he's so stupid. But with the stupid fight, with the 3v3, it was extremely underwhelming because you had Bakuto and Murakami face Daredevil, and then both Luke Cage and Jessica Jones fight Gao. And it just, like, I don't even know what else to say about it. It was just so boring.
It was.
And then at the end of all of their fighting, they disappear and run away.
I know.
And I'm just thinking, you had no reason to go down there and stall them, quote unquote.
There was nothing to stall for.
Yeah.
Like, the elevator that you find out in the next episode takes forever to get down to that cave anyway. She had plenty of time to do whatever she needed to do. Not only that, the hand felt like Team Rocket because they blasted
everyone
off.
That too, but everyone sucks and gets beat in Team Rocket. So yeah.
And like that fight, as you mentioned, you'd think that this 3v3 is going to be this awesome showdown, but it turned out that the hand could have been beaten by the defenders at any point, at any moment. And Luke, he's down there. He could have thrown those cinder blocks like crazy. I think there was a car down there or something. He could have picked that up. Jessica could have picked it up. And then Gao force pushed something. Jessica's strong enough to throw it back.
This show is, they don't understand.
It was the most underwhelming fight between the big bad and the superheroes.
You know,
ever.
as we keep talking about it, my score for it goes down.
Same here.
All right, we're way over time. Can we move on to 8?
Let's get to the last episode.
Okay, I'm going to try to make this... I really want to make this quick instead. So I'm just going to read off my notes, and then you read yours and whatever you'd like to add.
Go ahead.
But stop me if there's something you want to say. So things I wrote down. Matt finally warmed up and actually said, glad we found each other. And it was cliche feelings, like a feelings change after working together, because that's what happens in every show. I thought that was okay, but... I mean, they could have done the cliche differently. At episode 8, I was like, oh yeah, Trish is here? And I was thinking she's useless. There's no point for her to be there. Karen, Foggy, they may have helped a little bit. Foggy, I guess he did more. And then Malcolm, did he help in the beginning with Jessica? I think he did with the computer or something. I think that was it.
Like one time?
One time, yeah. And then... Misty, she kind of sounds like or acts like a mom for the defenders because she's always like, "What are you doing? What's happening? Who's there? Tell me what's going on. You can't do this, or else you'll be in big trouble."
Wait till I tell your father.
Wait till I tell your father, Iron Man.
Right.
Okay, so this is the part that we were discussing before recording, where it was the big fight with the elevator part. And Danny he was already down there, right?
Yeah.
And then it was Luke, Jessica, and Daredevil in the elevator. And they were like, or Daredevil was sensing how many people there are, and he's like, there's like 30 people down there. They're all armed, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, okay, here's the plan. And then Jessica gets down there, or cut to Jessica down there. And then she says a few things to Gao or Elektra. Who was it? Was it Elektra or... Gao at the bottom of the elevator?
It was both. I think it was the remaining members of the hand besides Bakuto.
Okay, so all of them. And then
Alexandra.
Daredevil, he swings by, hits 2 people.
Yep.
Luke Cage jumps down, hits like 3 people, and Jessica uppercuts one of them. One person. And it's like, this was your plan.
So they took out 5 people
for 30 for 30 people.
And didn't they have guns?
Yeah. Yeah, where were those?
The plan, Patrick, since you clearly missed it.
I missed.
So she comes down on the elevator, right? The other 2 were up on top of the elevator, so they can't see. Okay. And Jessica talks to them. And like a Disney movie, the villains don't know what to do because the hero's talking to them like a normal person. And clearly, the hero's going to join the villain because the villain has the numbers. But... out of saying like a magical word like now, the villains are like startled that this was all a ruse. And then 2 other people come out of nowhere.
Man.
And then like they fumble around with their guns and they hit the ground. They don't know what to do. These ninjas are terrible. As soon as she landed, they could have just opened fire at her.
If anyone watches Naruto, they're Genin. They're only Genin level.
It was so bad. It's like, who cares what Jessica has to say?
And then punches Electra. Okay. Oh, and then they get in a big fight where they have Danny, and then it's 4v30, right?
Yeah.
You see everyone fighting.
They magically lost all their guns.
That too, but you see every shit ninja gets their ass beat, and then Electra comes after all the henchmen are dead or like beaten, and you would think
she was in the bathroom.
Helped, what?
She was in the bathroom.
She needed a pee break. And then she fights them, but it's not.
Where was Gao? Where was Yoda?
Gao stood still in the back or something.
Yeah,
I saw her once.
Yeah, no, they show you in that episode, like you see her face, and then she like goes into the shadows behind like the bone of a dragon. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
What?
Yeah, she just goes darkness.
I'm gonna rewatch
and
this.
Just disappears. And then the other guy in the hand, the quote unquote guy that pulls the strings in the background, he gets impaled, he dies, and then Luke always beats his ass.
Yeah.
He always goes and fights Luke. Like every time that he's ready to fight, Luke does the same thing. He grabs his arm, takes the little stick he has, bends it, throws it away, and then punches the guy in the face.
Yeah.
It's like, stop fighting him. Clearly you're getting your ass kicked.
So everyone actually is pretty stupid except Jessica Jones.
This was an episode of Who Could Be the Dumbest.
Yeah.
Like it was so.
Who can defend the dumbest?
Actually, I think Jessica is the mom, and those are her 3 children. Because Jessica's always yelling at them to do stuff, and they're just like, "But Mom, the hand."
What next? Oh, one thing I wrote down is there's a lot more beheading than I thought there was going to be.
I know. Can you
And throat cutting.
As Phil from Hercules once said, "Can you stop with the head slicing thing?"
Wow, I wish I could cut that out.
I've been waiting to put that in.
I'm gonna throw up. And then I kind of figured Misty was gonna lose her arm in this because in the comics she has a metal arm, right? Or like some bionic arm.
She has something, yeah. I wanted her to die.
What?
I just wanted the character to die off because she was a badass policewoman in the Luke Cage series, and then in this one she's annoying as hell. It's like, oh my god, what the hell?
Some last few notes. The fight between Matt and Electra, while they're like going to die, the building toppling. It was very reminiscent of Naruto versus Sasuke in the last, or just the last episode, because they're like, oh, I love you, I'm gonna keep fighting. I love you.
It was the most cliche thing ever. I think other movies have done the same thing where everything's collapsing around 2 people, either brothers, lovers, or friends.
Brothers or lovers.
Brother, lovers, or friends.
Oh God. And then Iron Fist still can't glow his 2 fists yet.
He can't do anything.
And when the very, very last scene of Matt waking up in whatever it is.
That's coming from a comic.
Yeah, and I wrote down, hey, look, Jon Snow is alive again.
I'm going to go to sleep.
Do it. Okay. That's my last note.
But, okay, since that's all you have to say, the only thing that I liked from this episode was when Luke said, "Sweet sister." It's like, what the hell?
Luke Cage is kind of weird.
I like his random quotes. Like, he says this stuff in the comics too, like, what does he say? "Sweet Christmas." It's just like, what? It's great because it's something funny to laugh at. But everything that you mentioned from this episode, I agree with. I didn't really put any notes for this episode down because it was boring. I didn't like the fighting. I found how that supposed plan played out was very lame. I think that the last 2 episodes were really rushed. You could feel that in this series. It's like along the way, they forgot how to make the hand truly menacing, truly powerful. They just became annoying. The police story arc that was always side running along the defenders also became very annoying, very repetitive. Let the police act. Let the police do something. Misty can do something. The police chief is pissed. Let him get involved, or he's gonna wag his finger at you.
Yeah, she had no repercussions for doing it.
There were no repercussions at all for it, and like at the end of the episode, everything magically disappears. It's like, because what did the defenders ended up proving that everything that they said was true, because the police already knew that the hand existed, but were waiting to do something because they said that we know that the hand exists. We've been following them for months. It's like you've been following them for months and you know random crap's happening, but you're not doing anything. For me, the series is really strong if you follow it like it's a season for Daredevil. And if you pay attention to just the story elements revolving around Matt and don't see it as a team series. Because looking at it at Matt's growth and character development, you'll have more fun and enjoy the series because you actually see him grow. Danny doesn't learn anything.
Danny's the dumbest character in the Marvel
He
cinematic
is.
universe.
Luke is the typical, I'm a good person, I will do good things, I will be there to save people. He doesn't change at all. And Jessica is great in the series. She does everything, but I don't think her character changes that much. I think she accepts her role a little bit as a hero, but she doesn't really undergo this massive character development as Matt does.
Yeah.
And I think they used the Defenders to get ready for Daredevil Season 3, which he should be meeting his mom.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, is his mom special?
In this story arc that they're going with, yeah.
I mean, should we talk about... Or is it...
No, if you want to know more, you can go find out at marvel.com, check out that, or buy those comics. They're really old. I think they're from like the 80s or the 90s. I forget. You can read them all there. It's a good arc. It'll bring in also the the police guy that Trish was dating in Jessica Jones.
Oh,
He's
yes.
coming back.
Okay.
He'll be in Daredevil for that if they're doing this arc. But yeah, it's like rebirth. Because Matt has accepted the Daredevil persona, so now we're going to see how he's going to be when he wakes back up.
Right.
But
Jon Snow.
He still knows nothing. But overall, I would give this series out of 10, I give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Before I did this podcast, I was like, I'm going to give it an 8. And then after talking about it, man, you give it a 6?
6.5.
I was thinking maybe like a 7, 7.5. I don't know. Let's give it a solid 7.3.
7.3.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really stupid.
What about you guys, the listeners? What do you think? Did you like the series? Did you not like the series? Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what your rating is for this.
Yeah, leave a like on this video and a comment and subscribe.
leave a comment. Hit that subscribe button. I got a Patreon. Donate a McChicken.
God, I wish I had a Patreon.
I want a McChicken so bad.
You want to go get a McChicken?
A little bit.
Okay, we're gonna close this out by getting a McChicken.
But wait, before we go, next week's episode, we'll be discussing our lives, where we're at,
just life,
where we're trying to do, or anything like that.
Random stuff. Let's get into random stuff.
Random stuff. Not only that, if you want to check us out, I have a Twitch. I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. Check me out at Joe Talatte, JoeTalatte.
And you can find me on social media anywhere at HeroPet, except YouTube. That is youtube.com/theheropet. And we're going to get that McChicken.